And welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football, soundtrack and all. Woo! I love that new intro music. Welcome back. We were here for part 2 of the running backs, where we get to the real meat of this class, try to find some sleepers for you guys. Guys we think that might be able to carve out productive roles in the NFL that you should be taking a look at in the second, third, maybe fourth round of your rookie drafts.
Some role player guys, some guys that you may be your flex position for years to come. I can't talk.
So, yeah, these are... If you want to go listen to the big boys of this class, go back to Monday's episode. Check it out on YouTube. Check it out on wherever you get your podcast.
Wherever a podcast are sold for free.
For the best price possible. I suppose we could pay them, but that seems like that'd be not in our best interest.
Counterproductive for us.
Yeah, it does.
So we're going to get into our Tier 4 and Tier 5 backs in this episode. Just before we do that, just a quick social media shout-out. You can find the show at BeerFueledFF on Twitter. Beer Fueled Fantasy Football on YouTube in the left-hand corner, as we've been told so many times by Hopper.
Yep.
Individually, I am at Nick Sparts. Dan Thury in the Ravens uniform.
At Thury BFF.
He's in the uniform. He's
Yes.
got the pants on and everything.
Jersey.
Well, no, he doesn't wear pants on show.
He's in a hoodie.
Pants.
You don't know. It's a waist-up shot.
And then repping the Cubs with his glass, we've got Christopher Hopper to my left.
At Hot BFF with 2 Ps.
All right. Shall we hit a beer preview and then get into the meat of this class?
Yep.
Beer Fuel.
You can't even hide the fact that you weren't prepared.
I was
You're-
absolutely not prepared. Because now it's on video.
Everybody just saw you
Like him
reach,
and everybody
reach for
sees
that
it.
and pull it over to read the stats off the bottle.
Yep. Lagunitas, third time for them on us in the show. I know it's at least the second.
Yeah, I think it's the second.
We've got Wilco Tango Foxtrot, a multi-robust jobless recovery ale. We believe it is a brown ale.
Looks like a brown ale. I mean, it's... Oh, shit, I almost dropped my drink.
Oh, I like the
both
description
computers.
here. We're not quite in the red or in the black. Does that just mean we're in the brown?
Yeah. So it is a brown ale.
Yep, they're out of Chicago, Illinois. It is an 8.1% alcohol by volume, and we'll give you a full review once we're through all the Tier 4 backs.
I'm such a Chicago homer. I'm drinking my Chicago beer out of a Cubs glass.
I'm surprised you don't have more Chicago shit on the walls, honestly.
Because I try to keep it at least kind of balanced. So we got some Viking stuff. We got a Peyton Manning quote that's on this side
I was
of me.
like, wait a minute.
You're like, where am I right now?
I don't know where I'm at.
Am I in a room?
You've got Romo and Bortles over your shoulders.
Romo and Bortles over my shoulders. Jimmy Graham's on the table.
Yep.
So we try to keep it balanced.
All right.
Top Gun reference.
Do you want to go ahead and hit the drop?
Oh, yeah. I'll hit the right one this time.
Hopefully. You got it. I have all the
Draft
faith in you.
preview.
All right, so the Tier 4 backs, these are ones that have some serious red flags, but showed us enough that we're still recommending them as second or maybe early third round rookie draft picks. There was enough to like about them that we're at least intrigued, if not very interested.
Role specific guys, and they're going to fall into an easily specific role.
Or guys that aren't as sure of a thing to have
A role with.
a role, but we see the talent there to where they could surprise some people.
All right, and I didn't do any particular order when these guys tied for score, which is something we did not have in the first episode, but in this one, guys are really bunched up. We have 3 guys at 7-1, 3 guys
They're
at
all
7-0.
the same player.
Essentially, yeah.
I'm not going to say it,
I
but
did a group of 3 or 4 guys, and I'm like, these are all the same person, more or less.
just don't watch them all at the same time like I did, because it's like, who am I watching again?
It
this
starts
time?
to blur together.
It
It
blurs
does.
together a little bit.
All right, starting off with Tier 4, we do have Justin Jackson.
Okay, he stood out.
He
Yep,
did.
He was an absolute combine freak. Horrendously underweight, though, for an NFL back, which brings him to kind of a weird spot. He comes in at 7.1. I gave him a 6.9. I did give him just due to the lack of top-end speed and then the size were just a big enough red flags for me that I'm like, I cannot put him at a 7. I'm putting him at a 6.9.
No,
All
it's,
right.
it's the lack of top speed, and it is the size. And ideally, you would like to. It's 5'11". We talked about it on Monday. You'd like to see him be in that at least 210 at minimum. But he comes in at 193. He was a combine freak, though. His 3-cone, his 20-yard shuttle, and his 60-yard shuttle were all top tier. He's one of only 2 college players that has 5,000 plus yards and 100 plus receptions, or 5,000 plus receiving yards and 100 plus receptions. The other is a guy named Damian Fletcher, who played for Southern Miss, but because he was about Akron Wadley size, but
Okay.
also had some off-field problems, which led to him not being drafted. But Justin Jackson, though, exceptional lateral ability, side to side, and you can stop on a dime or just flat out make him miss. He's a very, very good receiver with some prowess behind the tackles and decent vision. And he looks to stiff arm everything. He's like grocery shopping and sees Grandma Frances rocking around the corner with her cornflakes and stiff arms her.
She's like, nah, bitch.
So he's taking after Michael Bennett?
Yeah.
That was the first thing.
Except this one's not paraplegic. He just stiff arms everybody.
That was the first thing Hopper texted me. He was like, "Did you watch Justin Jackson yet?" I'm like, "I'm about to." He goes, "He fucking stiff arm everything." He literally,
He runs with his right arm. Just you can tell he just wants to stiff arm something.
and he's actually a good pass blocker for a 193 size. And playing in the Big Ten, you're playing against a little bit bigger boys and on defense.
A little bit better competition than some
He's
of these other
got
conferences.
he's got a good. I think he's going to be a third down type of pass catcher back, change of pace. I think if he can get bigger, allow him to be at least get more carries. But he is very shifty, great hands. He could be this year's Corey Clement.
Yeah, he
Even though we didn't like Clement on tape, he as a pass blocker, he stood out with with Philly. And he became a good pass catcher.
He's got some James White to his
James
game,
White
I think.
too. Yep, there's a lot of these type of guys in this draft. A lot of James Whites, a lot of Chris Thompsons.
So in terms of what I saw on tape, he looked like underweight Gio Bernard.
That
That's
is
a
a
good
great
comp,
comp
too.
too. I was just about to say Gio, but he's about 10, 15 pounds lighter.
25
than Gio.
pounds.
20
Yeah.
pounds lighter than Gio Bernard.
Bernard's 220.
I wasn't gonna stop going up.
Yeah, he's if it wasn't for the size, this guy would easily be in that probably third tier of backs. If he was 210, he would be there.
Yeah.
It's just the weight isn't there, and that's gonna NFL teams are just gonna look at that and go like, you can't be a 3-down back. So he's gonna have to find a change of pace role and try to scratch out 12 touches a game.
He's your prototypical like round 5 guy in the draft, where they're not looking for a potential home run 3-down back, but a great solid role player.
Speaking of home runs, that's a good transition because that's one of the knocks I had on him is that he can be indecisive
He can.
when he's running and dance a little too much and try to hit the home run. They also had a very, very porous offensive line, at least this past season.
It's garbage.
Yeah, it was one of the worst I
putting
saw.
it lightly. So he did well to produce the way that he did there.
Yeah, and he's still. It was a lot of fun tape to watch. The combine performance was amazing. It's just unfortunately the red flag drags him down to be
His size
in this
does
tier.
hurt him
It's
here.
if he even put on 10 pounds, it would at least bump him up to where he's a little bit more of a sure
He'd be
Yeah, if he-
right. He'd be right in Ronald Jones's lane.
Yeah,
If he can get
yeah,
up
if
to that.
he can get to Ronald Jones or Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that.
pretty much.
So sorry, Jackson. That's why you're in this tier, but you are tied for the best in this tier.
Well, we'll see if he's put on weight when their pro day happens because I don't believe Northwestern's had their pro day yet.
I'd want him to run again if he put on weight too.
Yeah, I would too.
All right. Up next, we got Mark Walton out of Miami. Also comes in at a 7.1.
I bumped him down a little bit, so he's probably actually a little lower than this now. But
Okay.
I didn't update your notes.
He was a incredibly different back from year to year. 2016 tape was awesome.
Yep.
Yep.
Looked great in the 2016 tape I saw. 2017, I
He only
think.
played 4 games, and then he came back for a 5th game in December.
I think he was dealing with an ankle injury. I think every game in 2017 I watched, he would leave the game with the same ankle injury to end the
he
tape.
get worse every game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And he was just really struggling with that. Amazing blocker, though. Best one I saw in the class. He's a solid pass catcher. And overall, he didn't have a lot of major weaknesses in his game. So he's the type of player where it's like, if his 2016 tape is more the truth, he may actually be quite a good player.
Yeah, he's one of those guys they talked about that may have 3-down back potential, but he's only had one season over 200 touches, and the others he was pretty much hurt, I'm pretty sure. He did rack off over 1,300 scrimmage yards in that season, though. He's got good vision, flashes some speed. He keeps his legs moving to push some piles. One thing I noticed about him also in his pass blocking ability was just how well he stoned speed rushers. There were guys coming around the edge that I thought for sure were going to get to the quarterback, and he all of a sudden sees them and just teleports from where he's at to right in front of them.
I'm gonna need to rewatch this because we must have saw different things.
Yeah,
I'd say he
was-
needs to work on it a little bit.
I thought he was a great pass blocker.
He was a really good pass blocker.
All right. Well, I'll go rewatch.
He was one of
Pass
the.
blocking.
I think he was one of about 3 guys in the class where I watched and went, "Damn, that's well done, Mark Walton."
He was really good at getting to his spots
Yep.
when it looked like he had been
Yeah,
beat.
which is good. I mean, he's smaller size, but we've seen smaller backs be good pass blockers in the NFL. So
Yeah.
And while he is smaller, he's not.
he's right where
unbelievably-
Justin Jackson needs to be.
Yeah, he's because he's 2 inches shorter. He's at 5'9" and 202.
Yep.
You'd prefer bigger, but it's at least like I can work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does kind of lack top end acceleration, so that does allow some holes to close up on him before he can get there. That was one knock on him. Agility was just okay, nothing that really jumped out on tape. As far as style goes, I thought he was kind of a tweener between finesse and a boulder. Like, he didn't really have one style that he fit into.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with. I mean, just looking at the numbers that I scored him, everything is almost a 7 across the board for how I scored him. So he's good, but not amazing at pretty much anything.
Yep. That's exactly how I had him.
So, I mean, that's the type of guy where if he can land in a position where he gets touches, he should produce. If he gets in a crowded backfield, he probably won't be worth anything.
This episode of Beerfield Fantasy Football brought to you by Landing Spot Matters.
I'm not going to try to say it this episode.
Landing spots.
Good luck. You're not going to be able to.
No, I will. I'll leave it up to Nick.
Where production is determined.
All right. And then the last guy we have coming in at 7.1, kind of turning into a bit of a darling of the Twitter community, and we agree with them.
Yep.
Ito Smith coming in at 7.1 overall. He was a player I was kind of in the muck of. I didn't watch him alphabetically. The last half of the alphabet in this class is not real good for the most part. Ito Smith was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, him and about 3 or 4 other guys that we're going to talk. Well, Justin Jackson, then 2 other guys that we're going to talk about are all really close to the same player. Ito Smith, though, gets a little bit of a bump up in my rankings because he's got a better build. He's 5'9", 205, so he's closer to Walton than he is Jackson. But 1,000 yards rushing, 300 yards receiving each of the last 3 seasons, so he is dual threat. But he's got a pretty suitable build for his size anyway. Makes himself small at the line to sneak through holes. He's agile in space, above average burst and speed. And he wasn't a bad pass blocker, really, for his size anyway.
Yeah, my only knock on him, besides size, was his ability to run through tackles and his strength to finish runs wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in terms of
Just a lot of touches.
vision, receiving,
durability.
Everything else looked great.
He's your prototypical change of pace, 3 down back
He's
with good hands.
With the
moves-
potential if he had the chance to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chris Thompson, basically, who proved when Washington was out of running backs that he can run between the tackles.
Yep.
But he's very good in space. He's very good outside, and Ito Smith is absolutely all of those things.
It's a fun tape to watch.
He is very fun to
When
watch.
you get out of like all the top dogs when you watch all that tape. He's a good one.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on Ito Smith besides him just being a blast?
No, he's a really
He's a blast.
he's a really fun player, and if you're looking to take a second round running back, he may be the best dart throw that you can get there outside of potentially Walton. Just because I think his build is going to allow him to do more than Justin Jackson.
Oh, absolutely. I would, unless I was looking for just a safe running back to stash, I would definitely take Smith over Jackson.
Yep.
All right, on to the guys who scored 7. We have 3 here. Starting off first, we have Akram Wadley out of Iowa. You guys were higher on him than I was, so I want you guys to kick us off.
So he's same height, 10 pounds lighter than what Ito Smith is. 4'5", 440 is the same thing as Royce Freeman ran, so he didn't blow you away there. His top end speed isn't going to. But he did manage to be productive, 1,000 yards rushing, 300 yards receiving the last 2 seasons. But I think he may be kind of the same person as Justin Jackson. He's got exceptional agility, can make multiple tacklers miss because of it. He's got good acceleration, but the top end speed's lacking. Thought the vision was there. He barely makes a wrong cut, and he was sure-handed as a receiver also. Their stats are very, very similar out of college, so pretty interchangeable, pretty similar players. The things I didn't like about Wadley, and see if you agree with any of this, was the top end speed. He does tend to get tripped up at the line when they actually let him run between the tackles. He's a lot better when you get him in space. And he was not a fantastic blocker in the least bit.
No.
So he's the type of guy that's going to have to work as a third down pass, as a pass catcher that you're going to have to use in space.
He also, I agree with everything you said. Basically, he's Justin Jackson. They're one and the same. I think he shows a little bit more power in open field. There's a game he had against Iowa State. He ran over 4 guys getting into the end zone. That play alone, I know it's one play, but that's a highlight you show to people. But like, look at the upside. Look at what he could do when he's in open space and can do that. He's not going to do that as much in the NFL, at least consistently. But he does have a little bit of power to a smaller back's game.
I think his landing spot's really going to matter.
Yeah, for me, he was literally Justin Jackson light.
Yep.
The combine numbers coming in so much worse for him than Jackson when they're almost identical builds, for me, was a major red flag. And then on tape, I just was a little bit more impressed with Jackson's overall game. A little bit more versatile of a runner compared to Wadley.
There it is.
I wanted to whip it out at least some
Word
point
of the
here.
day. Word of the day. Versatile.
Phrasing.
Word of the podcast.
Word of the podcast.
That's sexual assault.
We here at Beautiful
Harassment?
Fantasy Football. do not-
Could be both. It just depends on how far you go with it. Don't start beating off in front of me. Yikes. Oh, wait.
Hopper, you are the walking
Yikes.
embodiment of your shirt.
I am. Shout out Pat McAfee. This is the Barstool Heartland shirt.
So yeah, he got knocked for me. I bumped him down to 6'7", so he would actually be in the tier below this by my rankings, just because I just don't see any serious upside to him, and that worries me.
He slid in after I adjusted everything, I think is the 4th in kind of that tier of just... Because I've got Wadley, Justin Jackson, Ito Smith, and Larry Rose all bunched up together.
I also blame him when I watch these players, because if you watch a lot of them, a lot of the same, like, clumped up together, you kind of...
Well, and those 4
And
players...
that's on us more or less than...
You don't
than
know,
them.
though, until you watch them. Those 4 players that I just listed off are very similar college stats, very similar builds, very similar productivity, and somewhat similar combine numbers. Mm-hmm. So Naheem Hines is another one that fits in that mold, too.
Yep.
We'll get to him momentarily here. Second one who comes in at a 7 overall grade is Bo Scarborough.
Let's flip gears to a completely different type of back.
Yeah, big back with some real weird traits to him. Actually, he's a pretty good receiver, solid blocker, decent speed acceleration and balance, but his 2017 tape was majorly concerning for him.
It was, and then I looked at the productivity. He still was at 4.8 yards a carry somehow. I have no idea because I didn't see it on tape, but apparently that was a thing. Knock on Jackson. He's never had a season, or Scarborough. Wow. Bo.
Yeah, we're 4
Bo.
backs down.
I had the wrong Bo, is what it was.
You don't know Bo.
Yeah, knocks on Bo Jackson. Bo Scarborough. No season over 150 target or 150 touches. Yeah, he never had over 150 targets.
That would be real impressive if he'd hit that.
It would be. But vision kind of wasn't great. He'll miss holes. He missed touchbacks. Doesn't have great top end speed, but there is a lot of things to like. His combine came in a lot better than I think any of us were expecting it to.
Yep.
He runs with good balance and gets up to speed real quick. You see that a lot on his 2016 tape. Mm-hmm. He breaks plenty of tackles when he's right, and his hands are solid for a bigger back. So he's the type of guy whose upside could be somewhere around what Royce Freeman's is.
Yeah, he's Royce Freeman with worse production and tape. But in terms of build and athletic profile, they're very similar players.
Yeah, so if he lives up to his potential, but the question there is, will he? He's a more riskier but kind of high potential, high reward player.
Yep.
Yeah, I put a comp down when you missed in JHI. I forgot who you mentioned him for. This was my player comp for Bo Scarborough.
Ajayi for me was Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah.
Which is I think they're both pretty much the same. So
I think they are too, and similar runners. Ajayi in college ran like Marshawn Lynch.
yeah,
He was just
it's been a while. Since
blowing
I watched him.
people up and running violently. He's probably one of the first players that I watched in college ball and said, I'm excited for this guy in the NFL because he would just drag people with him. He was such a violent runner with Boise State.
Yeah, and Scarborough was, considering how big he is, strength was definitely not his strong suit.
No, again, another thing that's kind of like Barkley and Freeman in that sense is to where, for as big as he is, he doesn't manhandle people like, Nick Chubb does, for example.
Yeah, with these bigger backs, I want to see him run people over. That's a good trait to have. It was the same issue I had with P. Ryan last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scarborough, he had the other thing that he has going for him and something that has been highly correlated to success in the NFL is he was a top-tier recruit coming out of high school. It's not a perfect correlation, but it's something that whenever you see a guy that's like, this guy was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, that's definitely just a player that you should just remember and keep an eye on.
Yeah, and part of the college productivity thing, too, is because he was at Alabama, and they always have 3 or 4 backs that they're rotating in. So he doesn't have a lot of wear on the tires. So that might be more of a benefit than anything to him.
Yeah, he's definitely, if I'm looking for a serious, like, I need a home run and I only have an early 3rd-round pick.
There's a guy.
That's
right,
the guy I'm targeting.
There's a guy right there. Yep.
All right, and then the last one, who I've heard nobody else talk about this guy, period. Justin Crawford comes in at a 7-0 for us. Definitely some serious flaws in his game, but the stuff he does well, he does really, really well.
He does. Yeah, 2 seasons over 100,000 yards on less than 200
excuse
touches.
me?
So what?
You said less than or over 100,000 yards.
I heard less than 1,000
I
yards.
said 1,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I heard over 100,000. I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah, no, I wasn't wrong there, I don't think. Yeah, 2 seasons over 1,000 yards on under 200 touches, which is really good productivity. 5'11", 202. He comes in at essentially he's the same weight as Mark Walton. He's doing just taller. So he's a little undersized.
He's Ronald Jones.
He's Ronald Jones, 3 pounds less.
Yep. Vision and agility, though, they appear to be top tier at game speed versus what his measurements were, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But his game speed looked a lot better.
Yep.
But he sets up blocks really well. He's got good burst to get to the next level, which masks some of those speed deficits. Like burst, and if you can get to the 2nd or 3rd level quick, will mask lack of top end speed.
Yeah, and he shows incredible agility, and I think his vision might have been the best in the class.
It's definitely up
It was
there.
up there.
It's fantastic.
As far as his ability to set up blocks and see where the play is going to be. His hands, even though they're rarely used, also appeared to be adequate. But kind of like Wadley, I did see him get tripped up at the line a little bit more than I'd like. I also, in the first game I watched, I think he fumbled twice.
Was it against Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Yeah, where he had one drive. He pretty much carried the team from like the 20 to down at the goal line.
And then
he
fumbled.
And then coughed it up.
Yeah. Because like if you watch that play, he like ball security is going to need to be a thing for him because he barely held on to the football.
That was one of my concerns with ball security.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a guy I have not heard anybody else talk about, he was probably the one tape I've seen where it was like I've heard nobody else mention this guy, and it was actually really impressive.
Yeah.
Might be Jordan Wilkins, but we'll get to him later.
Well, we've had other people call it Jordan Wilkins.
But that was
nobody
nothing.
has mentioned
But
Crawford.
Crawford was true.
Yep. He was just on that list because I think he showed up someplace randomly. The NFL Combine.
Yeah, he was at the Combine.
Yeah.
So Nick put him down there, and we watched him. And we were
No,
impressed.
Hopper put him
I
down.
put him
Hopper
down.
put him down there. And
Yeah.
I was the one who trimmed up the list when it was way too long because I didn't want to watch 150 prospects. 110 is enough.
I didn't either. Wide receivers is going to be a clusterfuck next week because I don't have nearly as many of them done as I'd like to.
Well, and
You and I are in the
thankfully
same
just
boat.
starting next week. We only are getting through the first few tiers next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, Crawford, for a player comp, he's kind of a LaShawn McCoy type runner where he's more shifty than fast.
Yeah.
Obviously, I doubt he has that type of juice to him, but if you're looking for a comp, that's it.
It's like any third down, most of change of pace type of backs.
I mean, he had a special type of shiftiness to him, though.
He's a guy we recommend you watch, and then if you like him, he's worth a late round flyer.
Fuck, he may go undrafted you may just be able to pick him
You
up
may be
after
able
the
to
draft.
pick him up on waivers later on.
All right, let's move on to probably the most controversial person
I am excited
in
for
this draft. And I'm right in the middle. I'm almost chalk with what our consensus ranking is, but our consensus ranking is a huge gap between Dan and Hopper.
Yep.
So 6.9 overall. I have him at a 6.8. And just the one note I'm going to throw out about him is his tape is the most bipolar tape you'll ever see.
And who are we talking about, Nick?
Kalen Ballage.
Kalen Ballage.
Hot garbage.
He
Upside.
You'll see one play where he'll catch a pass and just streak down the field for 40 yards, and then the next play he runs into his own offensive lineman. You two go ahead.
Okay. Well,
Should we start with pros or cons?
Go ahead and start with pros. And then I'll
Okay,
rip
so
it apart.
I'll say this right now. 2016 tape's a lot better than 2017 tape. A lot better. He had 44 receptions.
if you watch the Arizona game.
Well, if you watch a lot of his games, he was a lot better in 16 and 17. I thought so. Either way, he plays more like a third down back, more of a change of pace, but he's 6'1" and 228, I believe is what he is. So he's got the 3 down and back type of build, which is something that I like to see at least. He shows that ability as a pass catcher. He's inconsistent as a runner at times, but he ran a 4.46, I believe, at the combine.
Yep, at over 220 pounds.
I don't see that on tape, but the fact that he was able to do it, at least you get to see it. So I like that. I believe he's a patient runner. He does show the patience. He will wait for his blocks and his holds to set up and run through. I'm not great at soapboxing players, as more Hopper's saying, but in terms of getting down this low, if I can find a 3-down back upside, that's where I like Ballage, and that's what I see.
I think his upside is a bust, especially where people are hyping him at. I mean, first off, I think where people have him at, it's a pipe dream that you're going to get him in the 3rd round, where most people are hyping him up at.
So-
He's not a 3rd-round pick. He will not go 3rd.
In the mocks I've done, I actually did grab him in the 3rd round once.
which
Once.
would be great value.
Yeah.
How many mocks have you done? Because I know that we've done a decent amount.
I've done 10. I had, I think there was 2 that I saw him in the 3rd round, once that I took him, once that I had somebody else I preferred.
So Combine was great. Now to the other stuff. So some things that may interest only me. So roughly 25% of his career rush touchdowns came in one game. He's had one season over.
It was the game he's tied the NFL or the NCAA record.
Yeah.
Yep. He had 28 in his career. 7 of them came in that game. One season over 1,000 scrimmage yards. And here's a list of guys, and you can stop me when you know who one of these people are. But a list of guys that have over 400 rush attempts and are under 2,000 yards / 4.5 yards a carry. John Wolford. No? Nothing?
Kind of. But no. Just keep going.
Alonzo Smith
I know that
I
name.
know that name.
from...
I think he played on the Falcons in the NFL, didn't he?
Yeah, how was his NFL career?
Oh, it wasn't good.
Well, I'm not saying it was, yeah.
Okay.
You just said it. Stop me when you know a name. I was following your directions.
I know, so I can ask follow-up questions. That's why I said Arkeel Newsome,
No.
No idea.
Tiguan Mizell,
Nice name, but no.
No.
Tyler Jones,
Too generic.
Too basic.
Dearness Johnson,
That was that's like the opposite name. Tyler Jones, Dearness Johnson.
Scholar. Gentleman.
no, still nothing with NFL
No.
with NFL productivity.
Smith's the only one I know.
Okay, Lawan Hunt. Okay, silence is nothing. John Hilleman. Okay, Deshaun Watson. That's the other one. That's the other one that had.
I don't know who that guy is.
Greater than 400 rush attempts and under 2,000 yards and 4.5 yards a carry.
And just a reminder for probably why sacks do count as rushing attempts in the NCAA.
Yep.
They do. So his game speed is slower than his combine numbers. He was slow to the edge. He looked slow to accelerate. He falls on his face more than he actually picks up blocks. He was too hot and cold, too much lack of production. His own team didn't even trust him. And if I'm taking a dart throw in the 3rd round, I would rather it be on a guy like Scarborough or Josh Adams or one of those guys than Kalen Ballage. And a lot of people are hyping Ballage up as this top 10 running back, which is a part of my hate for him.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't see the speed traits or anything like that, or the flashes.
Yes. If there's anything Hopper
But-
hates more than anything, it's when people overhype somebody he dislikes.
It's true.
See Cam Newton.
Yep. And he is getting way overhyped, and I don't think that there's any chance that he lives up to where a lot of people are pushing his hype up to be.
I mean, I have him at a 6'8", which is below a few of the next players we're going to talk about. And for me, I think the only path to success for him is he has to become a elite big pass catching back. That's the only skill set I see him possibly winning.
Yeah,
with.
and that's what I said him. I think it's he's going to come in. You'll have a chance to be a 3rd down pass catching back. His pass blocking technique is absolutely garbage, so that'll need to improve.
His pass blocking technique is, well, I'm going to get this guy's feet or I'm going to eat the turf.
I'm going to dive at his toes and see what happens next.
We'll dive at his toes and see how that goes. So, yeah. I posted my rankings every day. Where's Ballage? Where's Ballage? Where's Ballage? Ballage is at 23.
He's at 10 for me.
I've got him around like 15.
Yeah.
Which is right where he probably should be. He should not be a 1st round pick in rookie mocks.
No, he
Or
shouldn't.
not mocks and
Well,
drafts.
you,
Excuse me.
you having him at 10, though, based on this rookie mock, says that you've got him rated as a high-end 2nd-round pick.
That's where I see him probably going.
Okay, do you think he should
Do you
go
think
there?
you should go there?
mid to high. I like his upside.
Do you think
I keep telling you I like his upside.
Would
more.
you take Kalen Ballage mid to second round ahead of guys?
Based on landing spot? Yes.
God damn it.
It's got to be.
Hey,
A lot of these running backs are the same way, though. It's all based on landing spot.
We're gonna do 4 whole episodes talking strictly
I know.
about landing spots.
Exactly.
Based on talent alone, over guys like Smith and those guys are going to have a carved out third down role, you would take a dart throw on Ballage.
On a guy that's 6'1", 228, they can do this a lot of the same things as a
I
pass
can go down to
catching back
Joe
could
at
do
the
that.
Moto Mart who's 6'1", 228. I doubt he runs a 4.46, but
I mean,
you're gonna take
hi.
You're gonna take Joe at the Moto Mart in the second round
Yeah.
of your fantasy mock draft.
I promise I can.
Maybe.
I
It depends where he lands, right?
Now, I may not run it under a 4.540, but I can probably block better.
I probably can too. I probably have better vision also, and I have one eye.
Yeah.
Though it's tough to wear glasses on the field.
Contacts. It's this new invention. They make these things that go in your eye.
Oh, do they?
I'm wearing them right now.
Thanks for modeling, Dan. All right. I knew we were going to get off the Ballage for this. What do you guys have a
Off the
player?
Ballage for this? That's what he just said. Off the Ballage for this.
Yes, we got off the Ballage.
Oh, hashtag off the Ballage.
Player comps? Was that what you're
Yeah.
about to ask?
Do you have any player comps for him?
Who is the
Who's 6'1", 228 and a pass catching back? Strictly.
6'1", 228 and terrible? Samaje Perine?
Oh, that's so meta. He makes fun of the only player like his big hype player
kidding.
last.
Yeah,
I know.
I still like Perine. What was Trent Richardson's metrics? Because
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
is
Yeah.
why I got him into
no,
top
I
5.
don't have a comp. My comp to him is probably the security guard in section 305.
All right. As an actual serious player comp, I was going to say a poor pass blocking Latavius Murray.
Yeah, because I think we talked about it with Josh Adams, but yeah,
Yeah.
like anyone who's got pass catching upside who needs to work on blocking, but Latavius Murray can actually pass block.
Yeah, he's actually a really good pass blocker.
Yes, he is.
So, any comp for you or?
No,
All right.
I didn't think about comps.
I'm
with
done.
him.
I'm
All right.
done.
Well, after that, I think we need a beer review.
Kalen Ballage is the guy I'm going to be hoping to fail.
That's so sad.
He's your 2018 Curtis Samuel.
Yes. And I was right about him. So
We were all right.
we were
about him.
a lot of people were right about him.
Beer review.
All right. What did you guys think of Wilco Tango Foxtrot?
it's got a malty sweetness to it.
All right.
A lot of some roasted notes.
I think you're basically reading off the glass right now.
Well, considering the label's facing away from me, if I was reading off the glass,
That'd be
I'd
pretty
be
impressive.
saying like Chicago Cubs established 1876.
It looks
Chicago,
like it's
Illinois.
fuck digital clock. That's what it says right now.
I mean, literally the label is multi-robust.
Yeah, it's malty, it's roasty, it's got a sweetness to it. It's really smooth, really easy drinking if you like sweeter brown ale type beers.
It's sweet with a real strong alcohol taste, so you can tell it's over 9%. You can tell. Mm-hmm. So very strong, but
Is it over 9? I thought it was 8.9.
8.1, I thought, right?
I thought it was 9.1. It's 8.1.
Hey,
Numbers.
I can read.
Well done, Dan.
All right, we've got.
I do something right every now
We've
and then.
messed up reading, time, and numbers so far today, so we're doing good.
Next
All
is
right,
English.
we are retaking kindergarten.
Opera choked.
Sorry.
Catch that on YouTube. If you want to watch me die.
Nick attempts to kill Hopper.
Wow. Okay. Next group of running backs.
All right, let's get to the tier 5, guys. Thank you very much, Lagunitas, for coming on for the second time, I believe. I need to confirm that. But your beer has always been quite excellent and good rep in Chicago, Hopper. Mm-hmm. All right, tier 5. These are guys who generally will have probably 2 or more red flags to their game, but generally 1 or 2 traits that are interesting enough that you're like, maybe something could come of it, but this is where it starts to get a little dicey. Up first, we have 2 guys coming in with a grade of 6.8, and they could not be any different. We have Naheem Hines first at 6.8 overall. I graded him at 6.7. Super undersized back, but he did post the top 40 time at the Combine.
And 9 reps on bench, the
And-
lowest in the combine.
Yes.
So there you
He's
go.
not a strong back.
No.
Yeah, he's and on tape,
You see
9 might have been generous for the bench press.
Yep.
So what do you guys think of him?
I thought he was good in space. He showed great agility, good angles on his kick returns. The agility wasn't Cohen-like, but it may be the best in this class. He showed some ability between the tackles, but I think that his eyeballs are low frame rate. I think that he skipped on the cost of those because it feels like he's really slow to see plays develop. So I think that when they should be running about 90 FPS, they're probably at about 27.
So he needs to he needs some higher refresh rate monitors.
Yeah. He needs to upgrade to like plasma refresh rate. He needs some plasma eyeballs instead of tube.
No, I thought Tubes had great refresh rates.
Did they?
Yes.
Fine. Then instead of Dynex LCD.
There we go.
Shout out Best Buy. We've all been employed by you.
That's
One still
yeah.
is. Fuck.
All right. Anything else on Hines, Dan?
It's Hopper covered it. Good pass catcher. Great in open field. He was a track star. He even stood upright. You know, for a back is small. When you can stand up upright to make a block, that stands out to me.
Yeah. I think he's at least going to get a job as a returner in the NFL.
Special teams for sure.
He reminds me of TJ Logan.
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Good. The Logan was bigger, wasn't he?
Logan was
Logan
bigger.
was tiny.
I think
super tiny.
I think they might have been close to the same size, but Logan was explosive and good in space anyway. He's a guy that flashed for us that we liked a lot that had really good straight line speed.
Oh, Logan was actually Logan was smaller.
Yeah. I thought Logan was super tiny.
Still.
But yeah, he definitely great straight line speed. The only like player comp I could find when I was just digging through this was like CJ Spiller, maybe.
Oof. Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
Smaller back with crazy speed.
yeah, he's another one of them that are just jumbled up with those potential pass catcher in space type of NFL backs.
Yeah.
Justin Jackson.
He'll have a role for sure, at least as a returner.
Akram Wadley, but yeah, he'll have a return role, and he could eventually carve out a niche. Like you said, he's a decent blocker, so he could carve out a niche as a third down back at some point also.
All right, and then to hit the opposite, we go from the fastest 40 time to the biggest back in the class.
Oh my God, but he's so fun to watch.
Chris Warren, 6.8 overall grade on him. Came in at 250 pounds at the combine. Thankfully, he did rerun his 40 at his pro day. And instead of posting a 4.69, he posted a 4.54.
That's impressive for 250.
Yeah, because that's the same speed as backs 20 pounds lighter than him are running.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he actually flashed that a little bit on film. When I saw this 4.69 number, I'm like, that's a slower than I would expect for his size. So there's some questions about his usage rate, overall, how agile he can be, if he can actually make it as a 3-down back in the NFL. But he was fun, and especially when he was like driving people
Of the
down
tapes
the
you can
field.
find. I like Chris Warren.
He had almost no college production.
Like he had 205 carries, I think, total
In his whole career.
in his whole career,
Yeah.
and he played 4 years with Texas. I like my lowest ranking on him is because I don't know what his role is going to be in. What he could stand out being in the NFL. When was the last time he had a 250-pound back?
Who's the one who played for the Giants?
Jacobs?
Yeah, Brandon Jacobs.
Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah.
He
And
carved out a nice career. for him.
he was productive for a while, but you look at his athletic profile. 4.54 is Royce Freeman. Which was better than Wadley, who ran a 4.56, but 4.54 is Royce Freeman. His 3-cone was better than Chubb. His shuttle was better than Barkley's. So he's athletic for that size, and he runs with all the mass and violence of a semi and a demolition derby. So
Yeah, he was
love
crushing
that.
people, especially that was it the San Jose State tape.
yeah,
Where he's just running
him
people
over.
over.
I feel so bad for them. You stood no chance.
It looked like he was running
tried
against high
Texas.
schoolers.
Yeah.
The short range speed and agility are really impressive for his size, though. He's got plus vision. He doesn't hesitate to just drop boom on people.
He might be the ultimate upside in terms of because he probably won't get drafted in most rookie drafts.
Or if he does, it's going to be late round
It's going
three.
to be late 3, late 4. It depends on where it depends on when it ends. So this is a guy that he could be the ultimate dart throw because if he can, become a pass catcher too, and we can at least see more more
Yeah.
tape on him, he could be something else. Because that was my big knock. It's just there wasn't enough tape to watch him.
Well, and him as a pass catcher too. When he did catch it, it was either body catching or he was doing that weird jump thing that you have
Yep.
to do to
Yeah.
catch balls.
Well, and
Apparently,
it's also part of the issue is Texas does not seem to throw to running
Yeah.
backs or teach them how to catch.
no, they don't. So that could be there.
Thanks
It's something
for
he could learn. But I mean, where you compare it to a guy like Geis, who wasn't used in that realm, but looked like he could be good in that realm. Warren wasn't used in that realm and looked really sketchy in that realm.
Yeah, so
Maybe he'll carve all the goal line type role.
yeah, he very
Short yardage.
very
If
well
he gets
could.
drafted, he may. I expect him to.
Hello, LeGarrette Blunt.
Yep. That was
yeah
my
he
comp for him was Blunt.
and he runs harder than Blunt
He
does.
runs harder though, and he's better athletically than Blunt is.
Yeah, so he's definitely got those agility and receiving chop questions and the limited production, but there was enough on tape where it's like, all right, I'm at least interested in what he can do.
Yeah.
Yep, indeed.
All right, let's go to Dan's favorite crush of the last 24 hours,
Jordan Wilkins.
Jordan Wilkins.
Ah, man.
I finally watched the rest of his tape. By the way, he got a decent bump from.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Or no, sorry, I ranked him the same as Nick did.
I mean, 6'7" is not a bad grade.
No, it's not.
Nope.
So he came in at 6'7" overall. Hopper and I tied, and Dan, you had him at what, 6'9"?
Yeah. So a couple ticks higher.
I had him as a bit undersized, but he was good to great in all other categories. So, and if you're looking this late, he's one of the few players who at least doesn't have any major holes in his game, and he played in a Power 5 conference too, so looked very good on tape.
Yeah, a little bit undersized at 6'1", 216, just slightly. He was about 2 inches shorter. That would be the perfect size.
He's basically 6 pounds lighter than Todd Gurley and like 8 pounds lighter than David Johnson. So he's got the height wise to be a prototypical 3-down back.
Yeah.
For some reason, like I don't understand how he didn't get any hype for him though.
I don't.
Which came shocking to me because like when we hear of guys that we should watch, you can see one or two things stand out to him. Wilkins looks like a guy who could be a 3-down back that you could get ultra late and probably pick up after rookie drafts are over.
He could be. He did, for whatever reason, missed his junior year. I didn't look into that, but there are no stats there for that one.
Okay.
Never over 200 touches, but he runs a great balance. He's got more strength than expected. You could see him bounce off tackles and just he doesn't lose speed when people make contact with him. His balance is exceptional.
Yeah, he's got pretty decent vision. Again, he's a very patient runner. They like when you watch those games, they like to throw out. Like I think every other run was this guy is super patient. It's like I get it.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
he's very patient, and then it doesn't take much of a hole for him to get through it. And like I said, he can bounce off of guys and keep going. So he's a guy that, again, is another one that I would take as a late round throw over a guy like Kalen Ballage, for example. Or
I think that'll be
That's
your
fine.
only example.
no, it will be. I'm going to keep taking shots.
I'm thinking there should be a shot bet on Kalen Ballage, but I feel like I'm going to lose because I have more stacked against me.
We'll
when it
figure
comes to him.
it out once the landing spot stuff happens. I'm assuming my opinion won't change though, if I know anything about myself.
It won't change. It'll probably get worse even if he lands in a good spot.
He's going.
It'll
To,
some reason like he'll go to like the Colts as the only other back there.
he's going to Carolina just to fit my narrative perfectly.
I mean he
As a Christian McCaffrey owner, please no Ballage to Carolina.
So there is a little bit of weakness in Wilkins' game. Pretty bad blocker. He needs to work
Yep.
on that technique. If he was faster on tape, that where the height would come from. Because he's got the size, he just doesn't have the game speed. Because when you watch him, he's more bursts and like lateral quickness than he is an actual. He has got one gear pretty much.
Yeah, his burst was great, but I agree with you.
Yeah, and that's I think is where he kind of just falls in that just muck of players where it's like he stands out well, and when we being compared to some of the guys down here, but as you get up more with some of the higher tier backs is where he kind of just falls flats.
Yep.
All right, well, let's transition to a guy who is purely a PPR option. He's already been mentioned on, I believe, earlier in this episode. Larry Rose III out of New Mexico State, I believe.
Larry Rose.
Ooh, I like him.
6.7 overall. I matched that grade exactly in my rankings. Smaller pass catching back, has some really good traits though as a pass catching back. he's likely going to be kind of your PPR flex option, but he looks like he's going to be a really good one of those.
5'11", 195, so basically Wadley size. Stat that may interest only me. He's one of 2 players with 100-plus receptions, over 4,500 receiving yards. Let me restart that over. He's one of 2 players with over 100 receptions that also has over 4,500 rush yards and 1,000 receiving yards. The other one's Ito Smith. So 2 guys in this draft, only college players to do that. So again, very like Smith, very Chris Thompson-like. He's adequate as a runner. He can get between the tackles. But he's great in space, great as a route runner. He snacks passes like a receiver. He's got great sideline balance and balance in and out of his cuts. So he's a guy that I think really is going to flash in the passing game more than anything. But if he needed to run, he could. He's not going to be a 3-down back, I don't think, unless he's forced into that role. But he's a guy like that. I think more than just 3rd-down back can also be a change of pace back.
Yeah, he's, again, your prototypical 3rd down, a change of pace guy. Your Chris Thompsons, your Theo Riddicks, your James Whites of the world.
Yeah, this is the type of guy where if you just looking to stash somebody, I don't think he probably gets drafted in most rookie drafts.
No, I don't think he does either. And I don't think that, I mean, look, there's 4 or 5 guys here that are all essentially the same player. Justin Jackson, Akram Wadley, Ito Smith, Larry Rose III, and Chase Edmonds. And at least one of those is maybe 2 are probably not getting drafted in any given league. Stash them.
Yeah.
Pick them up as a free agent and stash them.
Like, these guys aren't going to get a shit ton of rushing yards, but in most leagues that are PPR leagues, they're going to provide you a lot of early value, and they may be able to be like that Corey Clement where they'll have a couple blow-up games. Your Chris Thompson's where he is the only fucking back there that can showcase some of this run between the tackles, bounce to the outside. Because as we've seen in the NFL, good coaches and good offensive coaches will change their scheme mid-game to adjust to what happened.
Back to player comparisons real quick. If I can roll backwards, I do have a Kalen Ballage player comparison though.
Wow. He just
cannot get off the Ballage train.
I think he hates him more than Samuel.
No, I actually had this note written down as a legit player comparison because at the end of my notes I had said if there's anybody that can be the Corey Clement of this class, it's Ballage, and that is a guy that's similar size.
Yeah,
Clement's a bigger back.
That is, I like that.
So that is what I said about Ballage is that if there is a guy that is going to be the Corey Clement of this class, it's him. Because Corey Clement's another guy whose tape I absolutely hated.
We all,
so
it's bad.
That was my Ballage player comparison.
Okay.
Anyway, back to Larry Rose though. I think that he's about the same build as Wadley, and I just think that maybe don't draft a secondary pass catching running back and pick whichever of these 5 guys falls to waivers off of waivers because somebody will.
Yeah, stash them.
I completely agree with that.
Hold on, and if they hit, try to flip them for a second or something.
Because they're all the same back.
Like, even if they land in a spot that they may get blocked, injuries happen. I mean, look at fucking Washington last year who blocks every single fucking back.
Literally everyone.
Or Clement, he came on as a fucking UDFA behind Sproles and Pumphrey.
Yeah. And he overtook, Sproles got
and
hurt.
Smallwood.
But he also became the best pass blocking running back out of those running backs. Mm-hmm. And he was able to do it and show it from week 1 on. So there's a lot of upside in guys like that.
Yeah, so I mean, these are the type of guys that you don't want to pay a lot for them,
or anything if you can help it,
or not pay anything, but you want them on your team in case something happens. They start to show something, then either they can be a functional plug-in piece for you, or a piece that you can trade away.
Because he's probably going to be better than the 2nd or 3rd defense or 2nd or 3rd fucking kicker that you hold on to your team.
Yeah,
or some of the other backs we're going to get to that are more built like classic true backs. But we don't see any juice to them.
Yeah, the Levon Colemans and Jarvian Franklins of the world.
Yeah.
Which we're about to talk about Levon Coleman.
Yeah.
So Levon Coleman is up next.
That transition, though.
Didn't plan it. Didn't read.
Which I was surprised he came in this tier because I had him lower. And I cannot remember watching his tape. I have notes, so I obviously watched his tape. But I must have blacked it out of my goddamn memory because I don't remember a single thing about it.
Okay, the only thing about him is that he was pretty much big and everything else was average. There was nothing about him to jump out. He's 5'11", 223, put up 23 reps on bench. He was productive, 5.3 yards per attempt, but no season over 150 touches. He couldn't block an artery if he has a plaque buildup in a 70-year-old. So, I mean, there's just nothing that flashes or that says he's going to be good at the next level, though.
Yeah, he was. I mean, just based on my notes, as I said, I blacked out the tape. When I read his name and I saw that he was going to be on this episode, I'm like, who?
I'm pretty sure I wrote on tape that he it's just boring, and that Washington just has no clue how to use him.
They don't.
He's a power back that you're running out of a fucking shotgun.
Yep.
For God's sakes, he has no lateral quickness. He can't create for himself. Let him build up some steam first.
He doesn't have a ton of burst either.
Exactly, which makes it even worse.
He
won't get drafted.
I don't
in
see
the
him
NFL.
being more than a backup, and I wouldn't draft him in.
I would put him on the unwatch list.
Yes.
Yeah.
They try to purge his name from my memory.
Just get away. Go. There are other guys I like more. You have to rank him here because of his size and because he did flash at least a little bit, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it was him and then Jarvion Franklin.
Jarvion Franklin is the other one.
That's
yes.
the other guy I put down. His tape
These
maybe
two.
turn out. I don't remember their tape. And
They
I'll
might
probably
as,
watch
they
them
might as well be
back-to-back.
the same pack.
Because they probably are.
The same
Take off his
person.
mask and reveal it. It's Le'Veon Coleman. God damn it, I knew it the whole time.
I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for these meddling kids.
All right. And then
Watch him become like
Franklin isn't even on this episode, is he?
No, he's next. He'll be next episode.
Okay.
Good.
Chase Edmonds?
Chase
Yep.
Edmonds.
Chase
Last
Edmonds
one.
to wrap it out. Adams was on the list until you updated your score
Good.
of him, and
He
then
shouldn't
he
be on
dropped
this.
to the next
That's
episode.
one thing that we're getting hate on from because we've all posted our rankings is asking where Josh Adams is, and that's why
Yeah,
he's barely tier.
He's tier 6.
He barely makes the third episode.
Yeah, I might. Hold on. Damn it. Never mind.
All right. Well, while you do that, I'm going to intro Edmonds.
No, you're good. Go ahead and intro Edmonds. I'm fine. I don't wanna
6.6
look.
overall. He barely sneaks into the last episode here. I was the highest on him, I think, at a 6.8. Size and his top end speed are a concern. He does show great agility, balance, and vision on film and in his combine numbers, though, so there definitely is some potential upside there to him. And the small school is probably going to limit how early he gets drafted, but if he can get drafted at all, I'm going to kind of be intrigued and hate to beat a dead horse, but landing spot of anywhere that I think he might fight his way into a job.
So Chase Edmonds, a guy that I bumped up after I went through stats and everything. I did not reflect those in the master spreadsheet because I didn't want to reflect them in the rankings, but he did bump up into the same tier as or maybe slightly below the Smith, Wildly, Jackson tier. He's built like Ito Smith, almost exactly, 5'9", 205. Solid 3-cone and shuttle. He's got 3 seasons over 6 yards to carry, 3 seasons over 20-plus touchdowns. He's stout. He's compact. He's got getaway speed with some agility. Looks like an explosive playmaker at times, but other times he just looks kind of average. Combine numbers were better than game film. His agility doesn't seem to be as fluid to me as Ito Smith or Akrum Wadley. But it's still there. It just doesn't look as smooth. So I have him a little bit lower than those guys, but ultimately it was similar. It was better production, but smaller school.
At least he was able to, beat up against FCS.
He was, and that's
Which is what you want to see from guys that are coming from Division II schools.
Yes, you want to see people beat up on lower level competition, and he absolutely checked that box. So
I also put down he's a bad pass blocker. I think that's the only note that you guys didn't hit, and then I think he'll be a special teams guy to start out.
I think he probably will be too. I think he's a guy that could eventually carve out that third down pass catching back role. He's another one that fits that, but I don't know that he's coming from a small school. There's just more question marks there than there are the other guys that were playing D1.
All right. Yeah, and the small school competition definitely drags him down a little bit, and that's why I had him lower than guys like Justin Jackson.
That's exactly why I have him lower than those guys also.
All right. Anything else you want to do before we end the kind of mid-tier guys here?
Nope, I'm solid. I've really got to pee, so.
All right. Well, we'll wrap this up quick then. Any quick 30-second or even less rants for you guys before we call it an episode?
Are we doing open mic?
We are doing open mic.
Beer Fueled Open Mic.
All right, go ahead and rant about Ballage one last time.
No, I think I did that enough. I went first last time, though. One of you guys can go.
I'll go. I'm gonna give I'm gonna say landing spot. I'm going to say this. So I mentioned last episode there's a lot of depth to running backs, in the NFL right now. It means a lot of the guys that we like may not land in the most opportune landing spots. But just remember, it's like even if they don't, you get them a better value now in most rookie drafts. If you believe their talent, they're worth drafting because injuries happen. They can overtake jobs just as easy as that. You got to see a guy like Corey Clement, who we didn't like on tape, who was able to become a better pass blocker, showcase that pass catching game, and develop a role right away. So even if a back you like doesn't land into a spot that you do like, he's still worth that spot. He's still worth being drafted if you believe in him.
All right.
No, you can go. I went first last time. I go in last this time.
Okay.
Damn it.
Well, then I want to rant about the Indianapolis Colts, who
Okay.
have done absolutely nothing during free agency to address any of their issues and are starting to drive me crazy.
Besides, give us Andrew Luck throwing updates.
Yes, thanks for
Yeah.
the throwing updates.
Or throwing updates.
Yes, I'm about to puke because I get so many updates about Andrew Luck throwing. I don't know what they're doing. Why haven't they brought in somebody like Jordan Matthews or some of these other receivers who are
Why
available?
hasn't Jordan Matthews been even signed?
Another thing I need to rant about.
Jesus. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I don't know what this team is doing. They're in a starting to be really competitive AFC South. There's some really good teams in there. There's some great defenses that are starting to develop over there, and the Colts are just like, we're good. We're not going to develop anything. I like the trade back with the Jets. It's at least something they did.
3 seconds, including 2 this year. That's a great move.
It's a good move.
But-
They have a lot of holes.
But they
so.
have a fuck ton of cash, and they have not spent pretty much any of it on any free agents this year. They've brought in one guy.
Ryan Grant?
No, they didn't bring in Ryan
No,
Grant.
Oh, I thought they'd signed him.
No, somebody else did. I forget who it was.
I don't remember. Inconsequential, I guess.
But
Doesn't
yeah,
matter either way.
Yeah, the moves that they've made are just baffling. It's not quite Miami rant bad that I did a couple weeks ago that ended up getting lost.
That's
but
because they made moves that made
yeah.
no fucking sense.
Yes.
That's worse.
Miami was the worst offense. They made moves that were bad. Colts are just making no moves. So, but you still lose if you don't play the game.
Yep.
My rant's going to center around Twitter again, and Odell Beckham specifically.
Oh dear God.
So
Yes.
there was some issue, I guess, with some dude who just didn't believe that Odell Beckham was going to get traded. And if you thought Odell Beckham was going to get traded, you're an absolute idiot. So here's the thing. Anything can happen. The Giants are nearing a rebuild. I don't think that they fully go into it, but if there was something that overwhelmed them before they entered that they could get rid of Beckham for, I think they would do it. I don't think that anybody is going to dish up their asking price for him or that he's going to leave, but it could happen. Anything could happen. And just because somebody sees one thing happening doesn't mean they're wrong, especially if they're giving a take that is, I like this guy more if Beckham isn't there. That's not an inaccurate take. There's nothing wrong with that. So just remember that it's the NFL, and we might not know, but you don't know either. Nobody knows.
Yeah, don't be rigid in your assumptions about anything. It's like you can give your best guess, but
There's an asking price for every single player
Oh.
in this league that can be met if offered, and no player is untradeable at this point.
Yeah.
Yep, especially not one that's in the last year of his contract that may or may not resign.
Because I promise you right now, if someone went up to the Packers and offered them like 3 firsts,
like
and
3 firsts and a functional quarterback.
for Aaron Rodgers,
They'd probably
they'll-
take it.
Yeah, but they'll say yes, and they'll be just repeating the accept button like in a video game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So every player has a value to them and can be met.
Yeah, and
if given.
there's just people missing that there's some considerations here because even if he does re-sign with the Giants, they're going to have to pay a fuck ton of money to keep him on the team, which will limit their flexibility in other areas.
Yeah.
So there are valid arguments for why he should be traded. I don't think he will be personally, and I think people should stop freaking out about it until something happens.
I agree with that. I don't think he will be either, but I don't think that, for anybody that does think it happens or sees it as a possibility, because there is smoke there,
Oh, there's absolutely smoke.
that you can't say it's not going to happen for any certainty.
And Dave Gettleman.
Nobody knows.
Is it Dave Gettleman? That's the new GM there. Yeah, he's done a pretty bad job of handling the situation, I think.
I think he has too.
Oh my God.
I'm not surprised, though, consider where he came from.
Yep.
Yeah, he bundled a few situations in
He's all
Carolina
about
before he
culture.
got
He's
fired.
all about culture. So if all these video things that are coming out, I would try to seek help for Odell if you do think that there is an issue here before trading him, because He's
way too
elite. He's at
good.
his prime. He's elite, and he plays a position that is still fairly important.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough ranting for one episode. Thank you for tuning in this week. We got through 2 out of 3 running back episodes. If you missed Mondays and want to get the info on the top 9 backs, go check that on Monday. It is available on YouTube at Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We also have it for you guys on anywhere you can get podcasts. Individually, we are Dan Thury across the table from me.
We are Dan Thury.
We are Dan Thury.
At Thury BFF.
I'm not Dan Thury.
To my left, not Dan Thury.
Thank God.
Hot BFF with 2 B's.
And I am also not Dan Thury. I'm at Nick Sports on Twitter. We are at Beer Fueled FF, and you can catch us next time on Beer Fueled Fantasy Football.
See ya.
Later.